everyone! Welcome to the second episode of our podcast cycle I Want to Volunteer in Radio Antivirus. We are Michalina
and Wojtek,
European Solidarity Corps volunteers in Enjoy Sicily. Last week we told you about what ESC is, what are the requirements for participants, and as well about the benefits of volunteering and our experience.
Today, in a continuation of last week's topic, we would like to focus on practical aspects of finding a project. We will tell you about places where you can find project announcements, official EU website, Facebook groups, and web pages of NGOs. From that episode, you will also know what you should expect during the recruitment process for ESC projects. Links to all the web pages and groups mentioned in the podcast you can find in the description.
Let's start from the most official source, the European Union domain. As we mentioned in the previous podcast, on EU website you can find a list of all the organizations participating in ESC. However, there is one more list that can be even more useful for you. It is a list of all the projects in all participating countries. You can filter your search by country, type of volunteering activity, length of the project, and more. Link you can find in the description of the podcast.
Another useful source of ESC project announcements can be the websites or social media of sending organization from your country. By using the EU domain to look up the list of organizations, you can easily find the ones you might be interested in. Organizations frequently post the announcements in several places throughout the whole year. If you are interested in participating in a project in general or have any project-related questions, it is also a good idea to contact the organization on email or social media.
The last place that we recommend to take into consideration while looking for ESC projects are Facebook groups dedicated for that purpose. There are a lot of groups, both international, with projects for citizens and residents from more than one country, and groups dedicated to one nationality. Some examples of international groups are European Solidarity Corps Opportunities, Erasmus Plus Projects, and European Voluntarity Service, EVS Vacancies. Examples of the groups for Italians are Erasmus Plus Italy and Erasmus Plus for Italians. On Facebook groups, organizations are posting about opportunities and as well about last-minute vacancies. Of course, if you are not sure about the offer, it is a good idea to check the organization in the EU database. All the links to the groups mentioned before you can find in the description.
Now let's move to the recruitment process. Mostly to apply to a project, organizations expect from volunteers to send a CV and cover letter in English. This itself can be challenging, but don't worry. In the next episode we will talk about how to prepare a good CV and cover letter in English. Apart of that requirement, sometimes you will need to fill out an online form with your data and personal information, like skills, experience, and preferred diet. The questions in the form can differ according to the character of the project. You can expect different questions for applying for short-term ecological farm project, and different questions for long-term projects about working with children.
Now we can talk about the typical requirements. In general, from a volunteer, there is not much expected. Some skills can be desired, but the most important things are always willingness to learn, enthusiasm, and being a team player. For most of the projects, it will be also necessary to have communicative English, since it will be the main language of your work. For some projects, there is a priority for volunteers with fewer opportunities, for example the ones coming from rural areas or having trouble with education. All such information you should find in the project description. If something would not be clear for you, it is better to ask right away.
So you have sent your CV, cover letter, and you filled out the form. What now? You need to be patient. The time of response often depends on the number of participants and lasts mostly between 1 day and even 2-3 weeks. In the case you will get selected, the hosting organization will contact you to inform about that and to invite you to the next step, that is typically an online call with the hosting organization. During that call, hosts are going to ask you some questions to know more about you and your motivation, and as well are going to explain in details what the project will be about and what will be your role. It is also a moment in which you can ask a lot of questions about the project, the organization, the accommodation, and in general everything that concerns you and that you would like to know beforehand. If the call will be satisfactory for both sides and you will be chosen, congratulations, you can start preparation to go.
As you can see, the recruitment process can be different according to the organization, number of candidates, and type of project. We gave you an overview based on our experiences and research, but of course, in your case, it can be a bit different. What is important is to not be afraid to ask questions and contact with the organizations to clarify possible misunderstanding and concerns. From today's podcast, you already know how to apply, and in the next episode, we will tell you more about writing CV and cover letter in English. So stay tuned and see you next Tuesday.
Ciao ragazzi!